What's up, y'all? Back with part 3 of spotting common miracles. Today I'm gonna be focusing on like a little further into my path of not quite being aware yet that I was depressed, but at least being aware that I had some anxiousness going on. And if you hear background noise, it is because it's raining where I am, but I find it really therapeutic, so I'm gonna just push through it. So this photo right here is a picture of me in my friend's wedding. She was absolutely gorgeous. The other bridesmaids were absolutely beautiful. They were all very sweet and accommodating with me. We had on our bachelorette trip, we went down to Memphis in May, and it was a time, okay? We kept it cute, okay? Because my friend loves the Lord, baby Jesus, honey. So she don't do too much. She's not a wild girl. So we didn't necessarily have a hot girl time, but we definitely kicked it tough. I remember driving into Memphis with my hair twisted down to the scalp because I was going to take it apart and wear like a twist out. And then I remember I was jokingly telling my friend on the phone, like, girl, I'm looking a mess. Girl, I'm just looking like a hot mess. I'm looking like Celie, child. Like, I'm wearing myself out, but just doing it under the guise of being playful. But I remember walking into the Airbnb that we were staying in and seeing one bridesmaid was her sister, the other was her best friend, and me, and having this overwhelming sense of like, oh, I'm the fat, darker one in the group. Like, and it really was a product of my mental illness at the time, but I, again, wasn't aware of how deep I was struggling, how deeply I was struggling. And so I remember getting there and thinking that, and then immediately kind of trying to talk myself off that ledge and be like, but try to have a good time, Jasmine. Like, try to be cool, try to have a good time, right? And then her friends and her friend and her sister were like, girl, you were on the phone talking about how you looked a mess, girl. You, like, your skin is gorgeous, like, you so pretty, just take your hair down, like, and you gonna be ready to go. And I remember like feeling like, oh, they trying to gas me. Like, they can see it on me that I feel uncomfortable, so they trying to gas me. Not at all that they genuinely thought I was beautiful or that they thought my skin was actually glowy, because that's the way depression really attacks the mind. Like, it can be physically debilitating as well, and I'm not at all like minimizing those symptoms, but I think the symptoms that people kind of forget about is how it can give you like task paralysis, or how it narrows your perspective. And so during that period where I was not doing well, and this was May 2023, so this is even before the climax, the height, where I'm having all type of ideation and just begging God to take it off me. We gonna get there. But this is where I kind of start to realize I'm having very frequent negative thoughts about myself. I am having very frequent, doubts about my appearance, about my capability, about, whether my husband still loves me or is attracted to me. Like, I'm thinking that often, and I noticed that I was feeling it more frequently, but it was like I felt stuck to do anything about it because I also didn't have kind of a diagnosis. I didn't have a label, and I think I also had a degree of rejection of the idea that I could even be anything other than just a little stressed out. And so we end up having a time. We had a good time. I enjoyed myself. Then we get to the actual wedding date. So we were in Memphis, like maybe the 2nd to the 4th, something like that. And the wedding, I believe, was on the 20th or the 21st. And I remember waking up that morning thinking, like, I'm going to have to tell her I have COVID. Like, I'm just going to tell her I have COVID. And I don't want to get everybody sick. I'm going to tell her that I'm, like, projectile vomiting. Like, I could not get over the debilitating feeling of, like, I have to get in this dress. And I know this dress is not finna sit 100% like I want it to. I have extra in the back area or on my arms, and now I'm self-conscious about that. And my hair is not perfectly straight. It's kind of starting to puff up. And like now in retrospect, I looked at it, I'm like, well, my hair was glistening. Like the waves were waving. Like it was all mine. I looked beautiful. But it was attacking my mind and my senses in a way that it narrowed my view so much that everything was negative. I was supremely defensive about everything. Everything was an attack. Everything that someone said, there was some ulterior motive. I was skeptical of everything. I was doubtful of almost everything. And I just couldn't see the good, the beauty in being able to be there with one of my closest friends and celebrate her taking the next step in her life, and see past myself enough to say, Jasmine, like you tweaking. Like this is her day. You making it about you. And something as small as you throwing on this little dress and how you look in it. Like, and that's the hard part too, is like when you're not doing well, it's kind of hard to take accountability. I knew I had to wear that dress 6 months before when I bought it. And my goal was to drop 10 pounds before the wedding. And I kept eating. And I kept drinking. So the body was the body that I created. And I say all that to say, if you are in one of those seasons where you're kind of struggling now, and it's really making it hard for you to see the good or the God in anything, or if you've ever been in that season and you can look back and realize, like, yeah, I was not doing well. Like, my perspective was highly negative and pessimistic. The common miracle that I can say I experienced on that day, that I in retrospect can recognize as a common miracle, is there was a woman there helping get everything ready. And I'm a crybaby by nature, so I'm trying not to cry, y'all. So she was helping gather things and get things ready. And it was like God used her in that moment to kind of quiet my spirit, because I couldn't do it on my own. Like, they were being playful and joking and laughing and doing the pre-wedding photo shoot, and I just remember being so in my head and so uncomfortable and feeling like I just really want to get out this room. And she didn't know me, but she just kept saying things that I kind of needed to hear. She was like, oh my God, your skin is gorgeous. And again, in my mind, I'm like, okay, who is this lady? Like, thank you. And then I finally got my dress on, and I was struggling to get the back clasp to close, because again, like I said, I had gained weight. And so I was so flustered. And I guess I had been in the bathroom a little longer than maybe she thought was necessary. And so she came and she was like, you need help, baby? And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so while we were in there, she was just like, you need to trust that you're here for a reason. And you look so beautiful. And she was like, the imperfections that you feel uncomfortable about make you you. And she just kept saying a bunch of things that were very affirming that I needed to hear in the moment, that worked enough for me to just calm down and make it through the day. Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't wake up the next day or the next couple weeks or months and still struggle with that. Because when people are really struggling mentally and emotionally, they will do things that you can outwardly say, it makes no sense. Like, if you're unhappy with your body, then fix it. And I was actually working out, but the problem was I was so emotionally unstable that I was using like sugar and food as a way to cope. So I would make efforts physically to lose the weight, but my diet wouldn't allow me to sustain it. And then I would have that same cycle of like shame and doubt of like, well, what's the point of even trying, because you can't get the weight off? What's the point of even trying to put yourself together because you're not as attractive as you used to be? Like, these are the things that used to play in my head. And so the common miracle today is like, listen even when you're struggling, for times where God will speak through someone or use someone to give the message that you need in flesh form. Because sometimes, like I can say for me personally, when I was in the thick of it, I really believed that God had forgotten about me, like forsaken me for whatever reason, that I had done something along the way to make him just wash his hands, because I had done everything I knew to do to be better, to be happy again, and I just couldn't be happy. And so, even though I tried not to cry, and I still did, I'm saying all that to say, even if it feels like he's doing nothing, he's doing something. If it feels like he's ignoring you, it's because he's working something out, and he just needs some time to get it orchestrated in a way that maybe you'll be able to understand, to hear, or to accept. Because when I was really struggling, I felt like I couldn't hear God, and like he couldn't hear me. But that moment, like just thinking about it in retrospect, he knew what I needed and he provided it. And so I just want to encourage you, or anyone who you may know who may have gone through something similar or may have a different struggle but just needs the affirmation, that even as you're going through, there's still signs, there's still silver linings that show that like God is good, like that your struggles and your troubles prove that, and that he uses people in only a way that he could, and orchestrates things in a way that only he could in your favor if you would just listen. And so, although emotionally what she said helped to stabilize me in that moment, I didn't get the message. I still wasn't fully listening and wasn't fully open at that time for God to really be the head of my life. It took me getting all the way to December of that year and being completely broken for me to do that. And so my hope is that by being transparent and sharing pieces of my journey, that it may speak to you or someone who needs to hear the message, so that they are encouraged that, you know, there's somebody who looks like me, who outwardly, even in that season, probably looked okay to other people. I was still performing. I was still at work. I wasn't losing no money. I wasn't losing my hair. I looked outwardly all right. Looked pretty much like myself, but I was not myself. I was out of my mind, literally. I just want to encourage people that it does get better, and that you kind of expedite the better by looking for the good. It's so hard to do. I know that. It's so hard to do. But if you try to look for ways in which you're being covered, or being loved on, or being protected, or being guided, or just sustained, just brought to the next day, and find gratitude in that, it really does help. It helps. It helps to pull you through that dark tunnel that feels like it ain't no light at the end, you know. Or you look around and it look like everybody else is happy, and you just like, I done everything and I'm not. Like, why can't I be happy? So that was just what I wanted to share with you all today, to encourage you that, you know, he's still working in your favor. He's still present. Even if he's quiet, he's doing something. If it sounds like he's doing nothing or saying nothing, he's saying something. You just got to wait, and you got to listen, and you really got to pay attention. I'll see y'all pretty soon. I guess once I get through crying and cleaning my face for part 4 pretty soon. Y'all have a blessed evening.